What's going on, Rotogrinders? Dean here at Dean 7904 if you want to get all technical on me. It's actually, it's 6:02 on the East Coast. Apologies, we're late. It's a 4-game slate. We'll get through it, no problem. 3:02 on the West Coast, 5:02 Tennessee time. But of course, I'm just having the flagship show here at Rotogrinders. It is called Grinderslive. Joining me today, the GPP savant. It's Chris Kirkwood. Kirk D's. What's going on? How are things in your world?
Things are good. Do you want a little update to the people?
Sure.
After our conversation, the last show we did, I ended up buying NBA Top Shots.
Oh boy!
And it was the worst experience I have ever been through. I'm mad. I look at it as I threw away $1,000. I deposited $1,000. I made 2 purchases. And
what'd you purchase?
I purchased a Jaylen Brown. Of course,
Homer, Boston guy.
Yeah.
What serial number? It's important. The serial number is very important.
A lower one, a lowish one. Low. So it actually, the one got sniped. There was a 33. There was it was a 66.
Okay.
Like a low serial number. And my friend was like, "That's a good deal." I went to grab it, and then someone sniped it. And then, but I got like a 200 or whatever. It's like out of 1,000.
Yeah.
And then I bought a Giannis too because I thought he was undervalued. But I mean, undervalued. Yeah,
crazy. It's a ridiculous statement.
Forget it. I didn't mean any of that. But
you joined the show late, but myself and Devin, our producer, that's what we're pre-show. We were talking about it. And I was talking about my cool cat that I already flipped my Rui Hachimura cool cat. Somebody got it for like $2.
Oh, so I'm supposed to have a cool cat pack, right? But I went through the verification, and so my thing's locked, and I can't do anything. And then they send me. I get this notice yesterday that says,
"Yeah,
you're all set. You're getting the pack. Nothing you have to do." Pack never shows up. Still not there.
I can't believe that. To my knowledge, that site has had no issues. You're the first person that I'm aware of that's had issues.
I mean, I picture like Bales and CSU are like the support. They're like doing everything. I picture in my head, like
they're like Scrooge McDuck, man. They're like the Breaking Bad scene on the money. But good for them. Congratulations. I'm curious. Anybody in chat? Have you guys had any sort of? Do they know what we're talking about? Is it too nichey? You got to be on Twitter to be aware of this. I'm not really sure. What up, chat? Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Do appreciate that. If you guys are asking questions throughout the show, Devin is going to scoop those up. He's going to join the show later on. We will answer top shelf. Probably not. It's a 4-game slate. You never know. If you want to ask a goofy top shelf question, maybe we'll partake and knock them out as well. Tell us what site it's on. Tell us if it's for tournament or cash. What'd you have there?
We could talk about AMC, Robinhood. I mean, I'm on like no sleep. I've been getting up at like 4 a.m. to do like trading, like before early hours trading.
Did you partake? Did you smash?
Yeah, I didn't. I'm a bag holder of AMC right now, but I still believe in this stock. So people out there, save AMC. Get in. I mean, still get in.
Imagine being a stand for the hedge funds. I don't want to go on a rant or anything, but I mean, it turns out the system is. Did you know it's rigged? Did you know the whole thing is rigged there? All right, let's talk some DFS. Daily Fantasy Sports going down tonight. 4-gamer body parts as far as who's in and as far as who's out is very, very important tonight. We did get some news before the show. There was also some news we are waiting on. First game, if you guys are not aware, hey, why are these guys on late tonight? First game goes down tonight at 7:30. Body parts, who is in, who is out. Anthony Davis has a quad, I guess. He's out. We did some air quotes there. I'm not really sure. Maybe he's hurt. Who really knows? LeBron James, are you sitting down, Kirk Dees? He's questionable tonight. LeBron James questionable. And maybe, I thought he was going to sit. I never guessed right on this. So there you go. George Costanza, if every instinct's the opposite. So LeBron is currently questionable right now. We'll see how that goes down. Hopefully we'll get some clarity on that later. Jimmy Butler was upgraded to questionable, but he's still out with his COVID protocols. Tyler Hero still questionable. Miami did give us some clarity, though. So we do have Duncan Robinson probable with his quad. The Dragon is sitting once again. No Goran Dragic. He's got a groin, so he can't play. Max Strus took a hard fall last night, but he's still going to give it a go. He's available with his wrist. Gabe Vincent also available, as is, Avery Bradley's questionable. Portland, Derrick Jones Jr., he had a bad contusion the other night, a couple days ago. I think Portland's one of the few teams. Yeah, Portland and Houston are the only 2 teams that aren't island games amongst these 8 teams going down tonight, which we'll talk about. 5 back-to-backs. No, 5 on the back end and 1 on the front end as far as back-to-backs. Houston and Portland, the only teams that are playing an island game where they didn't play yesterday, not playing tomorrow. Derrick Jones Jr. is available. Rodney Hood's available. Both are starting, too, for the record. Devin Booker's still out with his hamstring. Cam Payne's got a foot, so he can't play. I'm guessing Blake Griffin rested last night so he can play tonight on the back end, and I'm guessing Rose is not going to play tonight on the back-to-back, but we shall see. Stay tuned. Yeah, we're kind of in a holding pattern as far as LeBron, and I guess Hero matters too. Those are the two big things. That's what we're monitoring, right?
I mean, are we really monitoring LeBron?
Well, I mean, look, what I don't understand, and this is like I always complain about this one, is like you updated Davis. You couldn't give us an update in LeBron, or was the update that he's still questionable? Like,
it's just basically LeBron is questionable every single game because if he says he doesn't want to play, he doesn't have to play.
You think LeBron that's really what he doesn't want to play? He seems like
that's the way I take it. I mean, he's literally questionable every single game.
Yes,
and he plays he plays every single game.
Correct.
So that's how I take it.
But if there's a game where he's less likely to play, it's the back-to-back game against Detroit.
Sure, and we've done this a million times and said,
Correct.
"Oh, this would make sense." And what happens? He plays. So I'm done with. I'm just assuming he's in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I assume he's playing too, because I feel like they would have ruled him out earlier. But this stuff may change. It's an 8:00 game, so in theory, hopefully, we do have clarity. And there is a late hammer for sure. TNT doubleheader. First one going down tonight, 7:30, Portland at Phoenix, and Golden State at Phoenix. What a bad doubleheader for prime time. I know you only have so much to work with these games and these matchups, but that's bad for national TV. Come on, this is what we're showcasing. Bad games. That's all. We don't care. It's DFS. We'll watch the worst games just as long as there's value there. But I didn't watch a second of Philadelphia Lakers yesterday because I was watching everything else. That was probably a fun game. I'm sure it was a fun game. Went down to the wire. Toby Harris banged a game winner with a few seconds left. But all right, this is what the slate gives us. Well, overall assessment, what's popping out for us? LeBron, if he plays, is a fun. We got to play LeBron. We got to play. If Davis is out, LeBron should shine, right?
Yeah, it's the game environment is a little risky, right? Like, I mean, they could take care of business with this horrendous Detroit team, but it is on the road and it is the back-to-back, and they are down AD, so the chances of it being competitive are better for sure. So yeah, if he's full systems go and it's a tight game, then LeBron should smash. I mean, yeah, I think he'll smash.
It's also a tale of depending on what slate you're shopping on. The Clippers are still severely underpriced, especially like Rjax on FanDuel, on DK. They pumped them up. A lot of the guys on DK have been pumped up. And on Yahoo, they're still really, I know you play on Yahoo a good bit. On Yahoo, they're still really cheap over there as well. I think the Kennard is still $10 over there, the still minimum, which doesn't seem to be the right number. I think it was the two of us today, right? We both did the rankings today for Yahoo. I believe that's the case. Did I see your name up there?
My name's there, yeah.
All right. I'm pulling it up on the fly.
I'm sure I did it ahead of you. I must have done it ahead of you because I didn't see anybody when I did it.
Yes.
Because I usually go in and I try to copy whoever did it, before me, and I was stuck and I had to do it myself.
I will look and see. I'll be like, well, if I look and see, like, well, what did I miss? Why is this person ranking this player at first and I don't have him in my top 6? What's up with that? Like, I will sometimes dig in, but yeah, I won't just like straight copy. It seems like a terrible idea.
I'm joking, of course.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, Kennard is $10. We both have him number 1 as far as a fair play specific to Yahoo because he's the floor. Dennis Schroeder, Demotion Man is $17. Another guy, it's a nice little price over there as well. And Rjax is $17, which seems pretty reasonably cheap as well on Yahoo. And just different.
The funny thing is, I was expecting Rjax to be like 12 again. Usually, like it threw me for a loop when I saw 17 for Yahoo.
Yeah, how does he get bumped up? Like he's 17 and like Kennard, just leave him at 10. Whatever.
Like not even give him 11,
Give him an 11. Show some respect. Put some respect on that name. Kennard's got a big old contract, at least. Yeah. All right. So, and on FanDuel, it's the same deal. Rjax went absolutely nuts the first game, played a pile of minutes, and I think he's still, $5K over there, which is, that's too cheap. And then that's kind of like pushing you in a star scrub situation. And then like DK, we're looking at, I saw somebody in chat talking about Kuzma, who's been not good this year. Like I don't know who's going to start for the Lakers. Do we have an announcement as far as who's starting at power forward? It could be Markieff Morris, who's still minimum on DK at 3K. I think they're both in play, Kuzma and Markieff Morris. Are you enthused about one more than the other?
Yeah, I just always side with Kuz. I just don't think Keefe has it anymore, and so I don't see much minute upside even if he does start. And I just don't see him being very productive, to be honest with you. So you get that bone. I mean, if he doesn't start, obviously I like Kuz better if Kuz is the one starting, but it really doesn't change a ton for me, to be honest with you, because I think Kuz is going to get his tonight.
As far as fantasy points per minute this season specifically, we have Kuzma at, this is well, I have it on Yahoo. Let's put it on DK. 0.82 fantasy points per minute for Kate. That's for Kuzma. And Morris is 0.75, which is not very good. That's pretty bad as well. THT 0.94. He might weasel his way into like 20 minutes or so. He's also super, super cheap. I think he's kind of sort of someone interesting, probably more as a tournament guy. And of course, if like LeBron is out, everything changes. But LeBron, a really, really strong play. I didn't like kick anybody off as far as the court stuff. Should I run a query and like kick off Anthony Davis and see how that changes?
I mean, I have one up here if that's what you want to see.
What do you have for me?
I did it earlier. What do you want to know? Usage, fantasy point per minute bump. What do you want?
All the good stuff, man. Yeah, give me the goods. LeBron 36.6%.
This is just usage. This season. Yeah, 3.8% usage increase per minute, coming in at like 36%. Gasol gets a pump, but I'm not. That's a name that I won't even consider. THT gets a nice little bump. Kuz like gets like a small, like doesn't get much of a bump, but you just gotta, he gets a 0.04 fantasy point per minute bump, but you just gotta, we know what Kuz is capable of doing. If when he's on, he's going to be out there gunning. This is a matchup that he can certainly do well in, and that's a small sample of this season that I have up. So you should do last season.
Yeah, I mean, you can if you want to. We can extend it if we want to, but we're going to bring on SBK in a second from the projections team. Going to give us some clarity as far as what's going down in Miami. Not full clarity just yet, but we do know more than we did an hour ago. Butler out, Robinson in, Dragic out, Strus available, Bradley is questionable, Vincent probable, and Tyler Hero, which is a pretty big one. He's questionable as well too. That Miami Heat got absolutely walloped last night. They got blown out. Not sure how much that game you watched. I watched a good bit of it. I mean, they just couldn't hit threes, and it was 3-point variance, and it took them forever to even make one.
And Bam was terrible. He really struggled, and it was a mental thing too, because he was struggling in the beginning, and then he wouldn't attack, and he would take these mid-range jumpers, and they were like scared of Jokic in the paint. They were just terrible. They just were off, but I expect them to rebound tonight. The guy I like though, I mean, it's Kendrick Nunn. And yes, he was horrible the first half, and he was really a reason for their struggle, but he got there the second half, and it's just the minutes. Like he's just so safe in this situation. It's like if it's a competitive game, he's going to be out there. If it's a blowout, he's still going to be out there with like their last lineup. So he played the entire third quarter last night. I mean, maybe it's a little worrisome, but
can I call him like a poor man's Lou Williams? Is that a fair comp?
No, I don't think so.
Nope.
He's no, he's not. Lou Williams is a professional scorer, man. Lou Williams.
That's what Nunn is. Nunn thinks he's a professional.
Lou
scorer.
Williams is a bucket. Yeah, he's like
a couple years ago used to be.
Nunn is like not this year, but it's in him. Nunn is like a homeless Lou Williams, maybe.
Fair.
But I mean, Nunn is. I got a friend who's buying all the Nunn. He's bought like every Nunn rookie you can possibly get your hands on, like every auto. He's like so in on Nunn, but I think Nunn
is a if you shorted GameStop version of those guys aren't poor, they're not homeless for sure, but yeah, you get the point. The same sort of similar idea.
He's good when he attacks. His shot's a little, but he's gonna be out there chucking. So I'm with Nunn.
What if Hero plays? Does that muck everything up?
Yeah, but I don't know how much we can really expect out of Hero, or if he's gonna play, but I think it affects him for sure. It has to, but I don't think it's a huge effect.
Just throwing it out there. This doesn't affect things in the slate tonight, far as I can tell, at least. But first time all year, we saw Precious Achiuwa, the lottery pick. Is he a lottery pick? 12, 13, 14, whatever he is. Miami's number one pick, played alongside Bam for the first time last night. Just thought it was interesting. Kind of monitor that going forward. But their rotations are always really tricky, and they're obviously really thin these days too. So maybe that was out of necessity, but the booth was really excited at the prospect of those two guys playing together. We're still waiting. Devin, are we still waiting on SBK? Is he late? What's going on here? Well, does he not know we have a schedule to keep? Unbelievable. well, you know what? We're just going to bump him for now. And if he knocks on the door, we'll talk to him about that. Yeah. So as far as the Clippers, again, this is one of those depends on where you're shopping. On DK, who are we excited about for the Clippers, or are they all sort of priced where they should be?
On DK, well, I mean, we can't play Reggie on that at that price, right?
He paid it off yesterday, or whatever it was yesterday.
He ran so good to get there.
Did?
Like, did you see some of his steals that they literally just fell into his hand, like a ball would just fly right into his hands. I know because I faded
positive variance,
and I faded him on Yahoo, and that's where the steals really count. So that was annoying. I still had a good night, but sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, wind chimes your ringtone? What is that?
I never changed the ringtone. Whatever the
okay.
one that's
fair enough.
There's a lot I haven't done with the phone. That's probably my dog's bet, but I won't take it. Anyways, you know who was it's the pricing is just rough on DraftKings, for instance. But like you could maybe Lou Williams can turn it on, like that you have to be a little bit optimistic. I don't think Terrence Mann is very good, at least in this role, especially against the Heat and like facilitating the offense. Man, it's tough. I would want to play Kennard, but like that price is too high. Serge Ibaka was like the first option in the offense the entire time. Like literally it was just to Serge. And, but it's rough. Like the pricing is just rough on all these guys.
Yeah, I think Mann's a little bit interesting, and his price is more acceptable on DK than a lot of the other guys. 0.8 fantasy points per minute.
But it's like we got none now who's like in the ballpark.
Okay, let me confirm. Let me go to Twitter. The chat is telling me, and the chat's never lied. They never steer us wrong. Apparently, Hero's in. Tyler Hero's got a neck. Despite the fact he's got a neck, he's going to play tonight. And Avery Bradley is unlikely to play, for what it's worth. Not that matters so much, but
he was terrible.
Well, yeah, you're a Boston Celtic fan. You're probably you're done with him, right?
No, I mean, I root for him, but I mean, he was horrible last night, like just horrendous.
Yeah, and Gabe Vincent is just not it. And like he was never supposed to be. He's just sort of, just a guy that's trying to fill a role there. He's not particularly good, but do we assume Hero just jumps right back and plays normal minutes is sort of the question, because I don't know what to do there with that.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I guess you project him for a little bit lower, but like for GPPs, there's definitely the optimism that he's full go.
Maybe that's why SBK's, he's probably fixing that. He's probably knocking out to
sure that's what he's doing.
That takes precedence for sure, as opposed to jumping in the show, fixing stuff for
they're in the boardroom. I picture a big boardroom with a lot of algorithms and.
Yeah, I mean, sure, why not? Yeah, that just kind of mucks up Miami a good bit, and like I think it's a slight hit on Bam as well too. We saw a price bump, and it is a stars scrub slate. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it right now, especially with the Lakers stuff that I think is opened up as far as the Lakers side. Is that kind of the way you see it as well too, with the assumption? Well, we know Davis is out. We don't know what the deal with LeBron is, but somebody's got to fill that usage. Somebody's got to fill those with 34, 35 minutes. And there's a lot of cheap guys. Not a great matchup against Detroit. The pace is slow. Not a big total, 109 as far as a team total. Nothing exciting, nothing to see here. But if guys are still minimum and you can reach up and get, a guy like Dame, who's a phenomenal play. We'll talk about him obviously soon enough, or even LeBron. And, you're on your way. You got to make those guys work. Is that kind of the general build tonight? Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, the main question, right? So you want access to this Blazers Rockets game. So, I mean, Dame is just like the best play, right? Like the best possible matchup for point guards. And he should just crush in this matchup. He's coming off of a game where he disappointed. I expect a full bounce back for him to really go off. So, I mean, it's just whether you want to jam in Dame and LeBron, and which is you can definitely do.
The chat's very excited about Keith.
We've got a lot of narrative.
And KCP revenge. Wow.
And Kuzma homecoming.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we don't know. We'll figure it out. I was going to ask who we think's going to start there, and I don't know how much it matters. It matters to some degree for sure, but I think they're both still fairly in play to a good bit. I'm looking at our DK dollar for dollar stuff, and it looks like we're projecting Markieff to draw the start because we have Markieff Morris currently projected for 27 minutes. And if you give him 27 minutes, we're expecting around 20-ish DK fantasy points. That's still a minimum 3K point per dollar. He's the top guy. Raw points, of course, matter, but he's one of those guys that kind of makes things work. 6.81 fantasy points per dollar. Up next is Javon Carter, which we're not enthused about at all. At least I'm not. You feel free to speak to Javon Carter. I know Campaign is out, and he's going to get like 20-ish backup minutes against Golden State, which is a nice matchup. The Plum Dog, nice night last. He stayed out of foul trouble. He wasn't handsy for once.
I kind of like Javon Carter.
Okay, sell me on Javon Carter.
There's nothing to sell you on. I just kind of like him. It's just that the back-to-back with Paul, who played a ton of minutes, he played, the other last night. And now it makes sense because they need him out there to run point, and he was there, and Carter's pretty much their only other guy because Payne's out. But so it's just the matchup with Golden State is just perfect. His price is still like dead minimum, and you might expect a minutes bump because you might expect on the back-to-back Paul to take a little bit of a seat back. So
I could see that. I mean, if just a couple minutes here and there.
And the game may just be a lot of scrubs going off for a while in this game. So it's Golden State. It's Golden State.
Does Plumlee avoid foul? We saw him get in foul trouble 3 or 4 slates in a row, and maybe he might have fouled out 3 or 4 games in a row. He had tough matchups too, for what it's worth. And the Golden State side, of course, there's help defense, and it's hard to predict such things sometimes. But you got to think that like Kevon Looney's not going to get him in foul trouble necessarily. Wiseman was awesome last night. I'm not sure how much of that game you watched. I mean, they benched Wiseman, but he's clearly a better player than Looney. Of course, he's still learning and still figuring stuff out. He's played 3 college games. But I love the talent there. I don't know how much money how many minutes they're going to unleash him for, but Looney is not somebody you want to play. Obviously, Wiseman's kind of interesting in tournaments, super athletic. SBK, did we catch you in the middle of tweaking some Miami stuff? Because obviously you saw Hero is in. Well, it's not just you; it's yourself, Jamino, Tuttle, Allen. You guys are all. Somebody else is all over it as far as the Miami stuff. I guess is that what's going on right now?
Yeah, sorry to leave you guys hanging. I almost lost track of what time it was, but yeah, dealing with Miami at the moment. Yeah, it's a little bit of a different rotation for them now. They do have Hero back, so maybe we'll see monster Kendrick Nunn minutes drop off a bit. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind for the last half an hour.
What take me through it, and what are we still figuring it out? Have we settled anything as far as Miami? Do we expect Hero to play his normal minutes? Are they going to are we projecting a couple off just in case? What are we doing with Miami?
So we have him at 32 minutes right now. It looks like. Yeah, that's correct. Kendrick Nunn we still have at 34. Just given that they still don't have Butler, they don't have Dragic. Avery Bradley is not expected to play, which opens up a little bit of playing time. He had returned in the last game. So Nunn's still getting a pretty decent amount of run here. Other than that, at guard, we have 14 minutes for Gabe Vincent, 8 for Max Strus, and right now 21 for KZ Okpala, but I think we might bring those down a bit. At least that was what we were discussing right before I hopped on. So that might be in flux a bit.
Your job is discussing how many minutes is KZ Apollo going to be playing on a random Thursday night. It's amazing, isn't it? Besides Miami, what is LeBron going to play? You'd have to know, right? You know a guy. Is LeBron playing tonight?
Dean, I wish I knew a guy, man. You know how much easier that would make my life. I'm kind of surprised that we. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's so easy. He's playing.
I mean, I was just going to say it is a little odd that we get the Anthony Davis news. What was it, an hour or so ago at this point, and still nothing on LeBron. I do kind of think that he may go, but it's really hard to say with confidence. I mean, a back-to-back with them playing Detroit and having to travel, it seems like if they do want to, sit him down, this would be a pretty good opportunity to do it. But then again, they do that. They don't have him or AD. So obviously that's a huge one right now. So still keeping a close eye there.
Yeah, and the projections right now, like Markieff Morris, that's still minimum on DK. It looks like we're rejecting him. At least I'm reading it correctly. We're assuming he's going to start and play 27 minutes. Is that correct? And Kuzma off the bench for 25. That's where we're at right now?
Exactly. Yeah. Obviously, if LeBron sits, Kuzma will become a far more appealing play, I would think, than Morris. But at least as it stands now, we do expect Morris to start for AD. Kuzma to get slightly more run off the bench. Not a huge bump to him, though. He does get a bump in terms of fantasy points per minute, but yeah, still not expecting him to get boatloads of run.
Hey, let's just ask about this. Why not? Javon Carter, you have him projected for 23 minutes, and Kirk Dees was endorsing him just because he's super cheap and makes things work, and he thinks he might get a couple extra minutes tonight. No campaign, no Booker, obviously. Is he somebody that you think, I mean, are you okay if he makes everything else work? Javon Carter at 3.2K, is he playable? I mean, you got to hold your nose a little bit, but he, in theory, should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, 4 games don't have a ton to work with, and like you said, no Cameron Payne, that helps out. We have a 23-minute projection right now. Eton Moore did re-enter the rotation in the last game, and I think we have him for 15 minutes now. I think that might have been exactly what he ended up playing, maybe a shade under that. There's a chance that Carter maybe steals a minute or two from him. We do have Jalen Smith with 5 minutes. He also saw just about that in the last one as well. If they go a little bit smaller, possibly gets a small bump there. So, I mean, I think he has a potential ceiling for minutes in like the high 20s. I can't really see him playing any more than that unless they want to take it easy on Chris Paul in the second night back-to-back, which is possible. Mm-hmm. So there are definitely worse places to look than Carter, I think, especially with the lack of depth behind Paul at point guard.
You got anything else that we're monitoring? Anything worth talking about, or should you get back and figure out the Miami minutes and wait for LeBron news?
It's really just LeBron right now in terms of guys who are questionable. There's, I guess, still a couple guys with probable tags, but nothing else I'm monitoring that I think has any real impact.
Oh, can I ask this one actually? Blake, would we expect Griffin to play tonight and Rose to sit? Because I've seen nothing on that. Have I missed it?
I believe we are projecting it that way as of right now. No, we are actually projecting Rose in at this point. He did play. I had looked at that when I did initial projections last night. He did play, and I think the last back-to-back that he was like kind of active for, he did play in. And he didn't. I think he saw 19 minutes last night, so it really wasn't much. So we have him still at just 21 minutes, which I guess is kind of in the neighborhood of what he typically sees off the bench. But yeah, we do have Blake Griffin projected at 30. His last couple, he's been below that mark, but he in the prior like 3 or 4 contests, he had been over 30 in each one. So a little bit of volatility there. But yeah, we still have Rose projected in at this point, but it is possible, obviously, that they sit him. So be keeping an eye on that as well.
Kirk Dees, you got anything else for SBK?
No, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, dude. Appreciate your time. Thank you. We'll talk to you tomorrow, I presume. Hopefully we nail these projections tonight. Do want to mention before we have like 5 minutes till we turn the show over to you guys. Turn the show over to the chat, like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We do appreciate all that. And ask questions, fire some questions there in chat. Our hockey goalie, our producer extraordinaire, Devin's going to be pulling those questions. Tell us, we prefer broader questions as far as the slate, but ask whatever you want, and Devin will confirm it. Ask whatever you want. How was that, Kirk Dees? Is that good? Or that was bad. That was not good.
I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try.
So in about 5 minutes or so, fire away off some questions, but tell us what site you guys are playing on. Is it for cash? Is it for tournaments? Yada, yada. We're here for the next 20 minutes or so knocking out your questions. We're going to talk for 5 minutes. Also want to mention, hey, RG Premium, some of the stuff that we're showing off, the projections that SBK is showing, the premium show that comes on after us with Andy Means and Kevin Roth. Thank you guys all have to lock if news breaks to tell you guys how to adjust, yada, yada, and all the articles, all the videos, all the good stuff. My projections, Kirk Dees' projections, RG's projections, our favorite players, consensus value. You guys can have all that, $10 off the first month. NBA specific, a la carte, just one sport. Links in chat, by the way. Or you can get all the sports, everything except except NASCAR, $10 off as well. Prize Picks promo. I know you got a couple winners for the people, Kirk Dees. 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Use the promo code Grinders. Give the people some winners tonight.
Take the Steph Curry over. He was terrible last night. He's going to come out swinging tonight. He should be, because he should be embarrassed. He scored like 2 points out of their first 58 points last night. It was ridiculous. He just looked off. I expect him to come out really hot. And he has a thing with Chris Paul. Him and Chris Paul have gone back and forth in a lot of games against each other. So I think he has a little fire in him tonight. And then obviously the easy one would be, because I know he's playing, is LeBron James over.
Yeah, it's kind of baked in. And 27.5, I saw a number in his season average this year is like 25.5 for what it's worth. And it's not a particularly great matchup, but the assumption being that LeBron is in, and we know Davis is out. So yeah, of course he's going to get a bump as well. All right, 5 minutes or so before we turn it over to the chat. Hey, you see who's chirping in the chat? Big T. Big T. My God, that's Big T's music. I invaded his show the other day. I had some fun with him too, and he was talking about his jams back in the day. Did you remember his mixtape or was So Deaf? I can't remember the name of his CD mixtape was, but he was talking about it.
Big T has all the hits, man. All the hits. When we had the basketball game, he had his own little mixtape with us, and didn't work out too well because we didn't win. But
well, narrative streets fail sometimes every once in a while, you know.
But the ref, the people, Stevie was calling fouls
he called some soft calls. Is that
soft calls.
And he called it after the whistle.
Cardi was calling fouls, like soft fouls.
Cardi, sneaky tall. It's like 6'4", 6'3". Yeah. Didn't see it coming. As far also the chat was talking about narrative street Oubre revenge.
Oubre, yes, man. I mean, this dude's balling right now, and if he just takes the first quarter off because he gets into 2 fouls immediately every single night. But then
the third quarter, same thing happened last night with the
immediately you get the foul. But when he's on the floor, he's balling, and when he was with that second unit, man, he's just balling too. He's just the scorer for the second unit. So I like where his game's at right now. You get the little revenge. He's playing well. He played so bad in that beginning stretch. So, he's got a lot to prove with this team. So I like him a lot tonight.
What do we think of Houston, Portland, 229, 5-point, spread here. Houston, first time all season. We're going to see, the chat says Kuzma's in. We knew he was in. Does that mean he's starting? Is that what's happening there? We're assuming Kuzma's going to draw a start? Kuzma in, he was never out.
Yeah, he's starting. That's exactly what I thought. Everyone was saying just because the last time was that Markieff would start, but I just think that was just a blip. That was a matchup related.
When has Kyle Kuzma ever failed us before?
I don't know if it ever has, to be honest with you.
I don't. Yeah, usually is pretty solid, and he is super cheap, so it's gonna be hard to avoid him. Raw points, of course, matter. Probably a better play on DK than other places as well, but I haven't honestly built the lineup, so that's just maybe me talking out the butt. Houston, first time all year. We got Wall. We got
wait a minute. Did you say? What did you say?
So that was me talking out the butt. Yeah.
I thought you said okay. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah.
I heard that too.
I heard up, not out. Sorry.
Oh no.
I think you did say that.
I'm not that skilled. I'm only so limber.
Can we get a playback on that later?
Yeah, let's run the tape back. I think.
Did I just have a crane moment? What just happened?
Yeah.
Maybe.
What did you think I said? If you want to censor it, feel free. But what did you think I said?
I think you did say up the butt. I'm just talking up the butt.
I thought it was. Let's see if the chat says if it's out or up. Let's get an
they'll catch it, right?
So first time all season, Wall, Oladipo, and Wood will be playing together. Christian Wood is back. DeMarcus Cousins, rest easy. You're phenomenal. We love you. Now your price is outrageous, and you're probably going to play, 20 minutes, maybe, if that. Can't play him anymore unless you think that Wood's going to get injured in the first 2 minutes, but can't really predict that. What I'm getting at is Houston's got a lot of body parts, a lot of healthy body parts. A lot of guys are going to be playing. Wall's got this minutes restriction, which is probably going to limit him to about 20, 25 minutes or so it's hard to play him. I thought they would unleash him against his old team. It was a first blood revenge game. Didn't happen. Oladipo seems overpriced, but you have the salary if you want it. And, of course, it's a phenomenal matchup. Houston, one of the only teams, Houston and Portland, that are on island games, didn't play yesterday, not playing tomorrow. So it's this weird sort of push-pull of, you're supposed to play the guys that are on teams that where players are sitting and they're not at full staff, and Houston's fully out there, but it's a good matchup. And I don't know what to do with it. Is what I'm saying. I'm throwing my hands up as far as Houston. I feel like I might overspend on Oladipo, but it still should be fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine too. I think the role. I mean, the really good thing to take away from the last game was that they bumped up his minutes. He got 37 minutes. So he's starting to get the big minutes, and he works well with Christian Wood. Hopefully that those are two good guys. I think it's a bonus to have him out there with Wood as opposed to with Boogie, who just sucks up all the usage. Boogie tries to play point, shoot every three, get every rebound. So it's I think he'll work much better with Christian Wood. So I think you can expect some extra little bump on his stat rates. But I mean, sure, it doesn't look so great, but you want a run back, right? And so it's either Wood or Oladipo and make the most sense for a run back with Dame.
I'd like a report on Wood as far as do we expect full minutes? Are we expecting him to play 32, 34? And Cousins played well, I guess, sort of like fantasy wise, and they won some games. He was like 2 for 16 that one game, which was a disaster. And they don't play Wood and Cousins together. So maybe they say, well, Boogie's earned 20 minutes. So that means Wood only plays 28. Then they crossed over for 6 minutes all season long, I believe. And one time it's because they were just super, super thin. So maybe they do limit Wood to like 28 and Cousins plays 20. I don't know. And obviously and there's no baked in discount for Wood. He's 9.5K on FanDuel, on DK's fully priced as well. So I don't know, but it's also a really good matchup against, Cantor, who's a disaster defensively. Of course, he's really solid offensively, and I think he's interesting play tonight, more so on FanDuel, but certainly playable on DK as well. Devin, we're eating into your time. I just realized, I apologize. You got to join the show. It's a 4-gamer, and I'm just rambling.
It's all
Devin,
right.
have you compiled a?
We got a good bit of questions, yeah, but it's a 4-game slate. I wouldn't say we got to rush or anything.
Did you get an official ruling, by the way, what we said as far as the butt? Was it up or in, or what was the adjective we used?
Well, that's not something I can do immediately. I'll have to go back on review the tape after we get done here.
Kirk Dees, you cover the tournament stuff. I'll cover the cash stuff.
All right.
Let's do it.
Philip asks, can I play Gasol over Giles just to be different?
I don't think why would Marcus Gasol's role change? You might get a little more usage. But I think Harrell's the interesting guy if you're going to play one of the bigs there, right? We're not playing Marcus Gasol, are we?
No, but you said over Giles.
Yeah.
So is Giles chalk?
I don't think Giles is chalky.
That was I don't think so either. But
Harry Jones?
I would take Giles over Gasol, but I would probably play neither of them.
Both pretty bottom of the barrel salary there, it looks like.
Way to lead out strong there, Devin.
Yeah, just I'm a wall over here. Nothing gets through. Steve asks, is Kuzma and Morris negative correlation?
They're so cheap that think you can still play them both. That's my response. They are, but it doesn't matter.
They are. They're going to be completely linked to each other, but they can both get there because they're so cheap.
All right, Donnie asks, at their price on DK, can we just play Morris and Kuzma together?
Yeah, again, I haven't built anything yet, because I'm just waiting on news, but I can't imagine, they both can absolutely get there, despite the fact they're kind of, sort of, somewhat eating off each other.
And I think that's the DFS has a way of flipping rules of thumb on their heads, and that's maybe one where the rule could be flipped on its head.
Sometimes the slate gets just flipped on its head.
From time to time, we have seen that for sure. And there was a question about if Wood would be limited tonight. Do you guys know anything about minutes on him?
No, we just kind of talked about it, but I expect him to be a full go because his ankle. He came back pretty quickly. I'm expecting him full go. Maybe you could see a tick down in a minute or two, and plus that Boogie was playing so many minutes, but they might overlap some minutes too, even though they haven't done that much this season. This is all work in progress with all these guys, so I'm expecting full minutes for him.
All right, smash that like button if we get your question. Frankie asks, I'm fading Cantor when he plays versatile centers. He does bad. What do you think?
Interesting. I think it's a fine matchup, and just Houston in general is not a team I'm afraid of on the inside. And if you look at the numbers, it probably shows a lot of Boogie. And Cousins is a big 33-year-old guy with Achilles injury, and he's the disaster defensively. He's going to cross past them to some degree, some minutes, but he's also fully priced up. But I'm okay with Cantor. I'm not afraid of this matchup. Is basically the crux of the question. I think you can still play him.
Wow,
he has such an advantage on the offensive end of the floor in this one.
He got quite a price jump between today and a few days ago when he was first without McCollum. I think he did it poorly that night.
It's better. FanDuel, I think it's he's 7-1 on DK, and on FanDuel he's 6-5. So that's obviously a better spot. And Yahoo, he's pretty well priced too, if I remember correctly.
Joe asks, is John Wall going to get normal minutes tonight?
I'd say no.
No, I think what's normal. He was normal minutes for him was 20, and now he got an extra 4 in the last game. So I'm expecting that to be his cap, 24, 25 minutes would be his cap, but could be wrong.
I will not play him. I thought Wall was going to play more, and that's the word in the street is that he talked himself into getting 5 extra just because it was Washington, his former team, and I don't know if he's got another game under his belt, so maybe now he's building up a tolerance for minutes, but it's hard to expect any more than 24, and that might be ambitious.
All right, Conscious wants to know, single entry DK, Harrell and Morris together?
That's the same thought, right? You can still play. I think they both can get there just because they're both so cheap, but they are negatively correlated.
All right. Jack wants to know Oladipo or Bam.
Raw points, you take Bam. It's different positions, right? What do you think, Curtis?
Yeah, I'd say Bam.
All right. Young Hooked asked, hey guys.
The tricky thing is, though, I mean, not to cut you off, but like depending on where you're shopping, like shooting guard, it's just not a very strong position. So, like Oladipo's a shooting guard on DK. I think he's a shooting guard on FanDuel as well. Really certain of that. But
this is a much better matchup, with this without Kawhi, without Paul George. This is, and in comparison to who they played last night in the Nuggets, they should do well. These Heat guys.
Man, 4-5 on FanDuel is a pretty strong play. He didn't get a big enough bump as far as I can tell. I think he's going to play about 30 minutes again.
All right. Eric wants to know, is Ayton going to smash tonight after being a bum last night?
He was disappointing. He had a bunch of boards. He just didn't score, right?
I go right back to him. Bounce back city.
Back to the well.
He's fine.
Alex asked, does Cantor get under Cousins' skin tonight? I don't think we have a skin factor on our lineup HQ page.
Over under half a technical with Cantor and Cousins. I would take the over, I think, on a half a technical. One of them's going to do something. But you can't predict these kind of things.
Right. Good luck.
But they're definitely, if we're going to have a pool and we're going to like a draft to guess who's most likely to get a technical tonight, those are first round picks.
Ryan asked DK single entry, Crowder or Johnson?
I prefer Crowder over Johnson. Johnson's so reliant on his three. And I know Crowder is too, but like he also can, get steals. He also can block shots. He can grab boards and Johnson's just like, he's got to hit his 5 threes. And if I'm going to pick one of those two, we didn't talk about those wings on Phoenix, and they're just not as interesting for me. Like they're fine. And if I land on them, so be it. Like I landed on Crowder last night and it worked. It was great. But he's also got a really low floor. If he's not getting the stocks and he's not in the threes, not a big usage guy, obviously. Talk about those guys, Curtis, as far as the Phoenix wings.
Because of the back-to-back, I would side with Johnson tonight. And the fact that also the matchup, just it plays to his strengths. The Golden State has been bad at protecting the line, 19 and opponent-made threes per game. Johnson, I think this is a night where he can pick up a bunch of stats and knock down those threes, and maybe Crowder's a little tired.
All right. We skipped Young Hook's question. So, hey guys, question for FanDuel Tourney. Which of the two do you prefer? Chris Paul and Markieff or Reggie and Ayton?
Wow, that's a question. It's amazing how much Reggie is on DK. What do you have for him?
Chris Paul and Markieff.
Seems
you
so
happy about
you were so enthused.
Yeah, I'm not that happy about it either. Choice.
Donnie wants to know, with everyone playing Lakers, what do you think Jeremy Grant is being, or do you think Jeremy Grant is being undervalued as a bringback on DK?
I would say yes, and I think just the DFS community as a whole, and like I besmirched them a couple days ago when Grant was talking him up, and they paid him a ton of money, and good for him, he got the bag, and he's been great, and he's like their offense, kind of, sort of, somewhat like him and Plumlee, and Wright. That's a weird offense there in Detroit, and Anthony Davis being off the court certainly bumps the the matchup a little bit better. It's not a good matchup. Obviously, Lakers, I think, number 1 in defensive efficiency this season. But it's a 4-game slate, and I'm pulling it up on the fly here. I'm curious what is our ownership here for Grant? Because I'm guessing it's like probably 20 or less.
13 on DK and 22 on FanDuel, 32 on Yahoo.
Yeah, which is like, 13% on a 4-game slate for a guy that can put up 50. Sure, I get it. No problem.
Sign me up.
Sign me up.
Wright is interesting if Rose doesn't go, but we don't have information on that. We're assuming he's in.
All right, let's see. Joe wants to know Ayton or Cantor, FanDuel Cash.
Ooh, those are different prices. Dollar for dollar, I think Cantor is a better play, but of course, I mean, and if you get a nice upgrade, I would take it. But and I think even Plumlee is playable on FanDuel Cash if you like your build. He's still just 5.2K there. Harrell's 5.4K, which I like him as well too. He should probably play like 27 to 30 minutes tonight off the bench. Ayton's probably not a guy I'm getting to FanDuel Cash at 8-3. Like that's probably not happening. If I land on him, so be it. But that's not a starting point. I prefer Cantor. I prefer Plumlee. But that's my plan. If it happens to work perfectly with Ayton, so be it. But I prefer Cantor.
All right, let's go to a lightning round. We got a couple of minutes left. Matthew wants to know, bigger ceiling, Man or Kennard?
Yeah.
Kennard, 100%.
Joseph wants to know, can you play Giles and Cantor together? FanDuel Cash.
Why are we playing Giles? What am I? Well, wait. Aren't you playing? Why aren't you playing Kuzma at power forward? Right. So Marquise, according to our projections, we have Giles and Marquise basically the same price, and they have the same price, basically the same projection. And I think I feel better about Morris's minutes than Giles's minutes. So I don't know if you're playing more than 4 Lakers, but I would play Morris over Giles in cash if I can.
All right.
Just play Kuz.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming you're playing Kuzma at 3.9. Like, how do you run away from that?
I believe this was after the Kuz news, but we'll see. Ryan wants to know, Dame or LeBron, DK single entry?
Man, I'm playing both in my head. Somebody asked, I think Dame bounces back. He had an absolutely horrendous game by his standards last time, and he still was
50
okay.
points on DK.
But he was like the 3rd or 4th highest scorer on his team, like Simons and Trent, these 3-point variance guys who people might chase and I think are not that appealing unless when Trent got bumped up and Hood is now in the lineup. He's starting tonight. I was talking pre-show, DJJ is not somebody I'm on. He looked like he was in a good bit of pain last game. He tried to come back. It just didn't work out. Maybe he feels better today. He's also not a fun guy when he's fully healthy. Derek Jones Jr., the definitive 3-and-D guy, just doesn't shoot. Not a very good 3-point shooter, 3-and-D. He's athletic. He's great in the dunk contest. But did I lose that question somewhere along the way? And it is lightning round.
It is lightning round, yeah. No, I kind of forgot what the question was. So
I feel like something was helpful there.
It was Dame or LeBron. That's what it was. FanDuel tournament, what do you do at center?
Go ahead.
Sorry, what site?
FanDuel tournament.
Well, I mean, Ayton is a guy you can play for sure. Like, you can even go down to like James Wiseman, he looked another one. He looked really good, but obviously in his last one, but that was against Minnesota. But Ayton is not a good defender whatsoever. So I think Wiseman would be the GBB play for me.
All right, let's end with who your guys are and then take us home.
What do you got for him? I mean, Lillard. I'm not gonna say Kuzma because duh. But can I say Lillard? Is that still super chalky? I don't know. I gotta stay on brand. LeBron, obviously. What do you have here? Who's your guy?
I mean, I think Cantor's going to smash tonight, so I'm going to say Cantor's my guy with Dame. I mean, that's the game that I want to be exposed to the most. So,
Devin, who's your guy? You never tell us your guy.
And Kendrick Nunn. Kendrick Nunn.
I was not ready. I had the credits page ready to go. I don't. I'll say Montrezl Harrell. He's my guy tonight.